So when the term slasher movie comes to mind, there are many names that appear. One of the more famous ones is from Psycho. There's Freddy. There's Jason. There's certain stabbings that going on. There is the guy, of course, in Halloween, Michael Myers. But what about one that's all the way from 1946? The Spiral Staircase. Newly remastered in HD from a 4K scan, although restored fine grain master. One of the all-time great Hollywood chillers. A murderer is targeting disabled young woman in a New England town. And Helen, played by Dorothy McClure, Gentleman's Agreement, and a mute servant in a gothic mansion, is terrified she's next. Mrs. Warren, Ethel Barrymore. Yes, that's right, we are talking Drew Barrymore's great aunt or something like that. Deadline USA. The invalid, bullying mistress of the house warns Ellen to leave at once rather than rely on her weak son and stepson for protection. But even as Helen is packing her things, she suspects that she may be too late. The murder is closer than she ever imagined. This terrifying and suspenseful thriller was produced by David O. Selznick. Duel in the Sun, directed by Robert Siodmak. Cry of the City, shot by Nicholas Musaraka, out of the past, and written by Mel Dinwiddie, The Reckless Moment. Based on a novel by Ethel Lena White, The Lady Vanishes. This wonderful cast includes George Brent, Dark Victory, Kent Smith, the Night Stalker, Rhonda Flamingos, Redheads from Seattle, Elsa Lancaster, Witness for the Prosecution, Sarah Allgood, The Lodger, Rhys Williams, The Farmer's Daughter, and Jamesville, I Walk with a Zombie. The great Ethel Barrymore received a Supporting Actress Academy Award nomination. So what's included on this is it's black and white, 1946, 83 minutes. I think that this movie is really gosh darn good, but it's what I enjoyed about it most was the mute protagonist played by Dorothy. It's in the sense of this is when one could interpret it as the the sound movies, if there's the silent movies, and if they made a slasher movie, because our protagonist is mute, and she gives an amazing performance full of especially with the eyes, which are the most emotive part of the body. That's the most arranging of emotion, so we get to see her being fearful, we get to see her running, we just get to see something I never thought that could be captured on celluloid, but done in such a great way, because she can't talk, obviously. She has to communicate with pieces of paper and just through her facial expressions, her arms. It's all body language. That's what's going on. I mean, even in the beginning of the movie, where they're showing a movie called The Kiss or something like that. Let's feature a screen, because it's set in 1916. Let's have a pianist and an orchestra conducting and performing the soundtrack. All right, let's even have a guy who's cranking the projector. I'm okay, so I can see where the motif is with what they're going, and I like that. I like to see the silent movie still being acknowledged in 1946, but when we get it from the female perspective, which is stupefyingly rare in this time, and the lady who plays her is pretty, by 19, still pretty to this day. It's just at the 1940s, bob, weave, everything else. So it's yeah, I like that. I like how they kind of do have the motifs, and of course there's a couple of murders that are going on, or women that are considered that have afflictions or whatever, says by one person. I'm not going to say who, but let's just say that this what is that? This dollar store looking Walt Disney mother effer plays a role. That's all I'm going to say. And it's just an interesting way of how to convey the emotion. Of course, this is a predecessor to like that was kind of going on with film noir that was done in that one Humphrey Bogart movie that what is that with Walter Greenstreet? Yeah, it's film noir perfectly in the sense of like there's all the shadows and the titular spiral staircase. Yes, this is seen throughout the movie, but as you can tell right here, you got her shadow, and what the spiral staircase represents is the descent into madness. Obviously, you can see that on Profondo Rosso. You can see that in Vertigo. You can see that in even High Anxiety. So it plays a motif of the killer who's had enough because he's like with all the imperfections and stuff like that, and just being, I mean, guess life just not going his way. Of how he slowly descends into agony and madness, and it's a very interesting treat to see what happens over the time. Of course, there's like stories like an affair and things like that. And Ethel Barrymore, who gives a good performance, where she is a curmudgeon, but she's just old and just tired, and gets really annoyed with a nurse. She's like, "Hey, no, you go out and wait in the hallway," or something like that. "I'm paying you to wait out in the hallway," or something like that. It's like, yeah, it's like, hey, but you have to leave here at once, Helen, because I have a paranoid feeling that something's going to happen. Just like paranoia, being alone, and not being able to communicate are, again, part of the central themes of this movie. And it's portrayed really, gosh darn well. Yeah. And I would say there's like, scene-wise, in about the first 20 minutes when Helen's returning from the theater, we think that there's going to be like the murderer going on, and they got some great use with the grass to convey and camouflage everything. It turns out it's just an adorable rabbit. I'm like, I see where they're going with the classic fake out motif that would become of course, very prominent and popular later. So yeah, there's the use of shadow, to one, show the fear and everything else that she's going through, and to just how large and expansive the house, almost as if one is feeling lost and warped in the house. I would say about maybe an hour and what was that, 5 minutes in is when things start getting all film noirish, with the camera tricks, the wide shots, the long takes, the performance that McClure does. So in an era that was truly dominated by men, I think that this one really stands out, and it's just absolutely incredible to look at. I mean, just it's like you can tell it's like 1940 style with the whatever, the gray going on right here, the flame, and just the black. Everything just works out so perfectly in this movie, and it's just such a fantastic time. It still holds up really well. For me, though, it's like I really enjoyed this. It's still kind of got like the 1940s style of storytelling, and just, I guess, just the black and white. So like I really did enjoy this movie, but would I watch it again? Maybe. It's just I don't know exactly what it was. It's like we don't all have to like everything that we watched. I just think it just, because it was so unique for the time, it stands out as an oddity. Not an oddity, but just as a true legendary movie that maybe I just need to see again sometime in the future for me to fully appreciate it, because I know that Sea of Tranquility, you know who you are, really like this. But yeah, I mean, I really did enjoy it, but just one thing, it just felt like one thing was missing for me to truly give this like a legendary 10 out of 10 score. But you know what? Don't let this one person on the internet stop you from enjoying this. So yeah, if you want to see what was like like a truly great performance based movie, you want to see Drew Barrymore's great aunt, and you just want to see like what was the great blending of slasher movies in the 1940s and film noir, then I recommend that you watch The Spiral Staircase.